Are you listening? Damn.
You're listening to the Random Select podcast, where we're constantly crossing the line. Wait, there's a line?
Yeah, legal says there's a line.
Fuck legal. We're gonna do the show the way we want to. So sit back and relax and see where it goes.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mario, and I would like to welcome you into another episode of the Random Select Podcast. It's the podcast that's all about thought-provoking talk. And today we're coming to you with another interesting conversation, I guess, to say the least. Interesting topic. I ran across a meme on Facebook that says that black marriages aren't failing because of financial reasons. They're failing because black women find it impossible to respect black men. And I have a group of panelists today, and we're going to discuss that and find out what their opinions are on this subject. And today I'm joined by Quinn, I'm joined by Carlotta, I'm joined by Clarissa, and I'm joined by the Frost Giant Will. And we're gonna open it up. I guess we'll start with you, Carlotta. We'll open up and ask, do you agree or disagree with what that means?
I disagree. Um, I think before you talk about respect, you gotta really call people out for what they're doing and not doing in the black society. So I don't think it's easily fixed by just saying if you respect black men, then things will be better. You know, respect is on both sides.
Okay, so let me go to you, Clarissa. Agree or disagree?
I disagree. I think you also have to look at other factors. If respect is an issue, then why is respect an issue? What else is going on in the situation? I think it's a very blanket statement to say just women disrespecting men. Like Carlotta said, is the woman being respected? Are there other things going on leading to that being an issue?
All right. Quinn, I'm gonna throw that same question to you. Agree or disagree?
I disagree as well because in marriage there's a lot of different variables as far as finances, communication, and other different qualities that the man has to have. And I just feel there's maybe a lack of role model of the black marriage altogether, whether we see it on television or in print. And I just think that, you can't put all the black men in a box and say all black men or all certain races. And I agree with there are always outside variables that will make women, not just black men in general.
Okay, Frost, you're gonna go ahead and make this a clean sweep.
Actually, yes and no. I disagree with the quote itself. I think the quote is extremely flawed. I don't disagree with what it may be trying to say. And when I say that, I say there's been studies, there's been evidence, there's been stories about how black people came over here to begin with. We came over in slavery. Black men were bred to be tools, basically. For the human equivalent of a tractor or a cotton gin. That's what black people were bred for. Black families were broken up and separated. Women were kept in the house. Were kept by master as sex objects, sex slaves specifically. Men were broken. Physically and mentally, so they could be controlled. And just as a race, the black race is started from behind the eight ball in America. That's just the bottom line. And I think a lot of that stuff is just from fallout is, women have learned to be strong, and that's kind of mutated into women being strong, which is a different term than being strong. SKRONG is a problem in our society today that doesn't have anything to do with a strong Christian, independent woman. Nobody's questioning all that. Strong women are messing it up for everybody, and that's its own issue.
Okay. Let me just start out since everybody is kind of doing a is will kind of say, sort of agree, but it's more go into it. So let me just throughout this whole podcast, I'll play the devil's advocate because somebody got to tone of mind just to provide, I guess a different opinion of this. Even though I don't agree with the meme, but I could provide a few arguments as to why people might feel that way. So, with that being said, let me ask you, Carla, honestly, no,
Mhm.
no pulling no punches, no BSing or anything like that. How do I'm not asking you for nobody else's opinions or how society, how do you see the state of a black man right now? How do you view a black man?
Um, I wanted to address this issue of strong. I don't think it has anything to do with even skin color. You just got to look at uh, respect. I don't think because you're born with a penis that you should automatically be respected over other people. You know, and I think strong when it comes to women is just the collateral damage of the stuff that women have gone through with men. And we're talking about black men because I don't hang out with white men. So when I say I'm going to keep saying black men, it's the collateral damage. Nobody's focusing on the things that create the collateral damage that you may consider as strong. Um, yes, slavery existed and created certain personality issues. We have a lot of poor black folks in other countries that have gone also through slavery that did not have that change like a lot of black men here. I think a lot of it has to do with lack of communication. I think a lot of it has to do with greed and just the fact of mentally being lazy. I think black women are caught up in this whole power struggle issue where for some reason we are used by black men to show power. That's the easiest way in their mind they feel they can show power.
So you saying that basically what we've done is over time made it where you guys have kind of have had to adapt. So now you constant
Right.
go as far as trying to prove that you're independent. I mean, that's what you're trying to say.
No. This is not about independent, and I don't want to let it get messed up that way. It's not about independent. It's about what makes the black woman come across as too strong or too opinionated or bitter or damaged. Who's making her that way? I mean, we didn't come out born with a certain DNA as a black woman to have a certain personality. I'm just saying, from a woman's side, you have to look at what is going on with women. And I think a lot of times you guys can't see because you assume if you're a good guy, all your friends must be good. But even if they pretend to be a certain kind of man, you don't see what the woman experienced behind closed door. So,
Okay, okay. Now, with that being said, let me play devil's advocate here. So that brings up the perfect point to say. So, if you've had things that go wrong in your life where guys have treated you a certain way, and let's say that that's happened, and I'll give you that. Now, if the new man coming along, since you already got that attitude that this is the pattern of behavior that all men display, so your natural tendency is to treat me like I'm not shit. So therefore,
no, I know
he's feeling
that's not what I said.
he's feeling like he's
No,
not respected. So that's why a lot of men can probably see
respect is
as being that way.
respect is you have to earn respect. You can't
But
just
how
come
can you
in
earn
and
respect if you going in automatically thinking he the lowest form of whatever? If you
no, no,
already
no, no, no. I'm not going in. I'm not going in thinking he's the lowest form. Every person that come in my life, when every man, I always give them the option to prove themselves that they're not a certain way. And not all men have issues. There's some men out there that are good. I'm not talking about all black men.
but the
But you
quote
have,
makes it
what
seem
I'm
like
saying
that
is
that's the way y'all start off treating every man as if they coming with issues because of your past.
that's not no, that's not true. You're looking at from the audience and you're assuming that that's how it is. But if you wanna look at examples, then why is so many women raising babies by themselves?
That's a
You know,
whole nother different issue. All right, let me ask you a
but it
question.
shows you a pattern.
All right, Quinn, how do you feel about
Mhm. Well, due to my own personal issue, I thought I was going to be biased about the black man, and that's only because I've come across so many bad ones, and I believe that's just my personal choice that I just obviously can't see the good men when they come, so I don't really have a good view of a black man from my ex-husbands, my ex, or my kid's father. I don't at this point in my life. I just don't have a good review of black men. I don't ever want to really date out of my race or whatever. But like I said, I don't know if it's just because there's not a role model in the household and they haven't seen, men haven't seen it enough, or what it is. So I partially may just need to blame myself on not being able to pick a good black man. So because I've had in these last few years nothing but negativity when it comes to the black man, I am starting off assuming that this one's going to be just the same, and that's only because of past history of dealing with them. It's not really their fault. It's just because I haven't chose a good black man, and you know,
isn't that pretty much what I just said though? That your past
I mean,
history makes you
for her, she doesn't do that. Me only because she's had a different dating experience. I do. I can vouch and say I have done that straight off the bat. But she was, explaining to you that she has not done that. She's able to give a black man a chance. But where I am right now, I don't, really believe in the L word right now. So I think I just need to check my own self and not really blame the black man. So I do see where she's coming from. You don't want to put everybody in that box again. But I unfortunately just only to the fact that I've had so many bad experiences with black men these last couple of years where I don't really have anything good to say.
okay. So the L word meaning love. All right, Clarissa.
Love.
Clarissa, and then I know you're currently married to a wonderful friend of mine, which is more than a friend. He's like my brother. But before were you jaded or any type of way? I mean, what do you think about what these two women just said?
Honestly, before Will, I did have some bad experiences. And I definitely saw some of the men that I think Quinn is referring to. I've dated some of them. I've been married before. So yes, I have had that experience. One thing that helped me at the time was I did have friends that had brothers and people I knew that were good men. So I wouldn't lump all men into that category, but I could definitely see how when you're in the dating world, it appears like probably more often than not you're running into bad ones versus good ones, unfortunately. But there are good ones out there, of course. But I could see how someone could feel that way just from being in the dating world back then. It wasn't a lot of choices. Let's just say that. You have to be very
Yeah,
selective.
yeah. Yes, I really feel that there's more bad than there are good, and I just really feel that the competition is, and I think men are arrogant when they know that, we're in the state of Georgia right now. I just really feel that the pot is really, really small. So I think I'll just give that dating thing a break or give the black men a break for a minute. So.
Just to
Okay,
kind
go ahead, go ahead.
Just to go back to kind of something Will said, I think it did start with generational curses, going back to slavery. But I think more often than not, a pattern I noticed with men that I knew is a lot of times the quote unquote good men were coming from better backgrounds, better families, better role models. And some of the ones that were just out just doing crazy stuff, they never had a role model in the house, or they had a bad one that never showed them how to be a man, how to be faithful. Like that's a pattern I noticed.
Okay, Will, let me ask you this: from before you got married, and did you ever run across one of these the women like in that quote who just felt that no matter what you say, what you do, she just felt that you know it was just a bad thing. She just treated you like that you knew going in you wasn't getting anywhere with her because she was scoring bitter and hurt, maybe because of her past experiences.
I mean, let's just be, just brutally honest. Every and I will allow the women to answer this because it's a statement I've made before. Every woman got that one dude in her past that has messed it up for every other dude that could come after that. Every woman who's already had relationships and had that one person, and as a guy, me personally, I already know you're gonna spend some time trying to just prove. Look, just get me to ground zero. That's all I want. All I want is a fair shot. Give me the ground zero. If we get to ground zero and it don't work out, we'll shake hands, bid each other farewell, and that's the end of it. But you have, as a guy, you will going to have to fight through some of those brick walls, and I can understand and respect that. That's fine. What gets me is that once you fought to get through brick walls and you've gotten to a certain point and you think you're getting to a certain point, but you see that there's other folks who, in your mind, speaking from your self perspective, like, oh, he breezed past the brick wall, but he's crap. How did he breeze past the brick wall? But I'm sitting here with the pickaxe trying to break through the brick wall, and I'm still outside the brick wall, and that's the type of thing that will basically generate this meme, which, like I said, I understand the viewpoint. I don't necessarily understand. I don't agree with its statement, so to speak. I don't think it's a question of black women respecting black men. I just think it's just a question of as we've already said, sometimes you just got to up the quality of people you're looking at, and just it's okay to filter out something that doesn't meet your standards if you have sensible standards. Now, if you have standards that keep getting bad results, maybe it's time to reevaluate some of your standards. I mean, that's just but that's just a human principle. That's black, white, whatever.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Carlotta. Once again, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. What about the man who says, okay, yeah, you've been hurt in the past, and yeah, this guy's taking you through this stuff, but as a grown adult person, you should just get over it and give me that clean slate, and go forward and stop talking about how you've been hurt and how and you don't want to let your guard down. And I'm pretty sure you women hear this. I'm not him. Just trust me. What do you say to that guy?
Well, since I'm a woman and I do date and I am currently single, I can tell you that every guy that's trying to dog you out will come back with that same line. And I think part of why a lot of women get angry is because they're falling for that bullshit line. I mean, what I was trying to say to you the other day, if you come up and say, look, I don't really want nothing to do with you. All I want to do is fuck you and keep moving. What woman going to give you ass? So you're going to come and you're going to pretend to be the good guy. So women just get frustrated when they keep falling for that person over and over. Why you think there's so many babies everywhere and no fathers around? Do you think those women were just stupid? No. Of course they were fed lines and given a game. And after a while, the woman gets frustrated because she's tired of trying to. You shouldn't be spending so much time trying to figure out if somebody's for real, and that's what burned a lot of people out. And you end up with collateral damage. And I'm not saying it's not an issue, but we should focus more on the issue of what is the man doing. We're not just sitting here being angry for no reason. What are the black men doing to the black women? That's what I'm saying. Focus a little bit on that part too, because they are playing games. Everybody's pretending to looking for something when everything seems to come down to I just want to hit. And nobody is bothering to commit to nothing. And that's the problem. And it's not like you're walking up to a woman and you're saying, look, I just want to fucking keep going. Yes, there's people that agree to be fuck buddies, but you have to look at all the men that pretend just to get some act. They will pretend to be down. They'll pretend to be a good man. And then the women figure out later on that they're no good. And after a woman goes through so many times of believing a lie, of course, after a while, she's going to have a wall up.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. This is kind of a two-part statement to say. One, Okay, you said that no one will ever, have sex with you if you come up to them and you be brutally honest. But the first thing we get from you guys is just be honest with me. So because we have understood over time and over years, when you just be honest, that really kind of is not what y'all really want. Y'all want
But
Oh,
it
what
yes,
should
man?
I
be
yes
But
just
I
be
what man
honest
do.
is
with
gonna?
me
Yes,
up
I
to a certain
do.
But no
point.
man's gonna truly be honest.
That's
He's not
right.
gonna really be honest. He's trying to get easy
Hmm.
ass. He's not gonna be
Yeah.
honest.
And
Okay,
I have
okay,
had
so
somebody come at me like that, and I really appreciate it because then I knew that there's no feelings involved. You know what I'm saying? I see what you want. Now it's my turn. The ball is in my court when you've already said you didn't want a relationship. You really just wanted to hit it, and then that's it. So now I can't be mad at you because I already know what to expect going forward because you were so honest. And there are some men like that who are honest. Now,
But most
yeah,
of
that
them are
was
not
my
that way.
but they're not exactly. But I have been approached like that several times by men who are just bluntly honest because he really didn't, doesn't have anything to lose. He's just gonna go to the next one. And I did appreciate that. Now I know, you know what I'm saying? Now I know not to expect anything from you. And then, okay, I'm not really ready to play that right now. That's not what I was looking for. But yes, they are. I have to agree that the lies and the games that are just played once you get through all of it. Like I said, I mean, I don't know where the good men pool are or where they located, but I obviously just tend to keep going fishing right back in the wrong one. So, um, yeah.
okay, so let me get to
Okay,
the
so can I
sad
post?
part.
Oh,
Okay,
oh,
Will, I'll let you get right back into it, but let me finish
yeah, yeah.
the
Go
sad
ahead, go
part
ahead.
before I forget real quick. Okay, say the man is honest with you, and say that you guys do get to a certain point where y'all having sex and whatnot. Why does everything have to always lead to you guys saying, okay, I'm gonna let this guy go in me raw, come inside of me, and leave babies? Y'all always act like when y'all get pregnant and leaving the babies behind, it's totally the man's fault. You guys have some responsibility to say, hey, look, strap up or whatnot. It always seems like once, just because somebody tell you they love you, whispering sweet things in your ear, don't mean you're supposed to just lose your mind and say, okay, go at me raw.
Okay, so you're saying no matter how much the guy come and says certain things, you should keep your guard up. And how long do you keep your guard up for?
I'm not saying keep your guard up. There's a difference between keeping your guard up. You can go for the feelings and emotions and all that stuff, but the chances are, if you guys saying by your own admission that they're telling lies and they're playing games and stuff like that, the last step of that relationship should be raw and letting him bust inside of you. Wouldn't you think that would be the
But of
logical?
but of course, r- yeah. But if you're believing somebody's word, you're not sitting there going, "Well, I need to go for 1 year on precaution and make sure whatever," because he might not be true. Of course, you're gonna go and believe their words that they're telling you that they're interested in you. And I'm telling you, there's some men out there that will tell you some serious, straightforward shit that they don't mean. There's women out there that have babies because somebody said, "Look, I want to be with you. I want to have a future with you." And right before he busts and she trying to say put a condom on, he will bullshit you and ejaculate in you. So you don't know all the games. As a man, you'll never know all the games because nobody ain't screwing you.
And I prefer it that way. But
Mm, mm,
what What I'm saying is that if by your own admission, you saying you know what the game is, you saying you know, and you saying that you can't wait the 1 year, but you'd rather spend another 18 years bitching at this man. Once again, I'm playing devil's out. I'm just
There
saying,
has to be a time limit to you. When you go to a bank and say, "I want a loan," they pull your credit, they investigate you. How long do they keep you in there and keep saying, "I'm worried about my money. I'm worried about trusting you"? There's a time that you have to say, "Okay, I think I've did enough. I did my homework. Here's your money." And you pray to God they pay it back. It's the same thing with men. How long do you go before you say, "I think I've checked everything. I've double checked everything. I think I'm going to be comfortable with him"? Because you got to remember, in the meantime, the man is sitting there telling you everything you want to hear, acting like a gentleman. How many women have seen a man that act like a gentleman, did the part correctly until you find out he lived with another woman, or he has a double life, or he never really wanted to be with you. It was just a game. You don't understand. Some men will go deep into a game just to get what they want, and it could be different things that they want, but it's all a game, and that's what make a lot of women very angry. That's
so
the
you trying to
collateral
tell me
damage
that
of
as
the
a woman,
bullshit.
there's not factors and things in place that you can't say from you being going through this over and over and over and over and over and over again?
Yes, yes.
Is there something
I
where you
don't
can
think
say,
five.
okay, I
I
should
don't
wait a
think.
little longer? He hasn't proved himself.
I don't think. Look, if I'm with you and after 2 months I'm comfortable with you, I'm gonna not sit there every night and go, I'm using a condom. I'm thinking I'm with you only. And I might be taking birth control, whatever I choose to do. But that's the whole point. How long do you go before you get comfortable with a man before you stop worrying about going without a condom?
And
It
how
has to be
long
a
do you need
certain
to take
point.
to keep you from being a baby mama? Okay, we'll go
But
here.
but who the hell gonna sit around and use a condom for a year and say, let me see if this man will not fuck me over? If you have to
Yes,
do that
I would
much
do
and you
that.
don't
I
trust
wouldn't
the
have
Hold
no
man,
on.
yeah.
issue with that.
Okay, hold on, hold on. On that point, I'll step in. I've done that because my first thing to answer that particular question, I have stayed wrapped up in a whole relationship just because I don't want. And I may be in the minority. I'll take that responsibility that I didn't want to have a child out of wedlock. I didn't want to have a baby's mama. That wasn't a life goal for me. So I fought to make sure that didn't happen. I mean, so at the stage now, I'm 41. I haven't had a child yet of my own, so I haven't hit that point yet. So I've tried to fight that battle. I said my concern with this whole conversation now is the fact that, and let me start from the beginning. I know men play games. There are men that play games, that are dogs, that run game, that all the stereotypes you want to throw out there, there are men that fit them. I got it. What kills me is the fact that this conversation always happens and it's never regarded as a two-way street. I said it's never regarded as the fact that and I think that's part of the reason as society we still have problems because I said one side look at it is all the men play games. There's another side look at all the women play games. Nobody wants to admit that as a society we just play games in relationships. It's just a whole lot of just not playing by the rules that goes on. Let's say if so you already know when you're dating somebody, you're meeting their representative. So you already know well whoever you meet is already a reflection of something else that you haven't seen yet. And you know what? That's fair game because same way you go to a job interview, they're not gonna see who you are at home. They're gonna see the image of you want to know somebody to perceive. But as you're supposed to go deeper and deeper to a relationship, you're supposed to eventually put your representative up and actually meet the person. And male and female, a whole lot of folks keep putting their representatives out there for months, years on end until they get what they want to get. Whether it's the guy you say, that want to get some ass, whether you say, whether it's the woman that just want to keep stringing and stringing along until they figure out, okay, how much material can I get out of this? How much material gain can I get out of this? Everybody runs game for whatever reason, and no one it's going to take both sides to say, let's just stop running game and stop acting like game doesn't get run. And to that point, like I say with the condom thing, I made that decision myself. No, I'm going to stay wrapped up. I'm going to stay wrapped up because I don't want to cross that bridge. I don't want to have, as Mario said, that 18-year commitment to somebody that, because I got a child, I got to look at somebody I can't stand for the rest of my life. I just didn't want that. Me personally, and I'm not saying everyone ended up in that situation because of whatever choice they made, but I'm just saying for me personally, as a guy, I had to control that because I felt the need to control that. So I feel if I can control it, it's possible to be done. It's just whether you want to choose to do it at that point. If you make the choice not to do it, that's fine. You're an adult.
And I'm
It's cool.
not talking about, and I'm not defending the people that just screw and know that they're going to get pregnant. I'm talking about the people that have been together. It's 6 months, it's 1 year. Your condom break because you're using protection. She's taking birth control, but you still get pregnant anyway. That's what I'm talking about. Life is going to happen. Nobody's perfect. If we were perfect, we wouldn't have a pile of outside kids out there with no daddies around.
I agree with that 100%. I mean, like I said, I got to be on the opposite side of the fence since nobody on the panel is on the opposite side of the fence. But I'm just asking, saying things that I know that some guys would typically ask. All right, Clarissa, chime in on this.
I think most women probably eventually build up a wall for a certain period of time. I think depending on what's happened, the period of time may be longer than others. I think people get past the wall sometimes because they're genuine, sometimes just because you've been tricked. You don't really know till he's past the wall which one you're dealing with. So I guess in that scenario, depending, let's say your wall is 6 months, 6 months, you're like, okay, I'm going to be careful with everything. Then past 6 months, you realize, okay, he's a dog, So it just depends on the situation and how long a person is being precautious. But I think eventually you find out who the person really is. And depending on how good they are at masking it, it could go on for a year or longer, You honestly don't know until you let the person in what you're dealing with, unfortunately.
Okay. I mean, that's a fair assessment. So, Carlotta, and since you're out there on the dating scene and you're trying to find somebody, and what are you coming across as far as and the whole thing is about, do black women, the reason marriages aren't working because black women find it impossible to respect black men. What are you coming across? What's some of the common games that you're coming across, or the lies, or stuff you're just catching people up in?
I think it's greed. I think it's the fact that nobody respects monogamy. Everybody is trying to juggle a couple of women at the same time. I don't know what it is where men seem to feel that their power comes from outsmarting a woman or getting over on a woman, but it's a game. And in Atlanta, because there's so many women, it's even more people to play your game with. So that's one of the problems. Why be serious with anybody when you got so much people to choose from? And so the game is constantly being played. And by the time they get to a certain point, okay, you bore me. It's time for fresh meat. And they move on to somebody else. And of course, the game gets better and better. You got people telling you they're single and they're living with women. You got people telling you they're ready to commit and they're not even single. So, of course, you got to understand why women get upset, because it's all a game. And then when the women sit back and they get bitter, they get angry, they put the wall up, then they say, oh, I can't deal with none of these women because they have issues. Because unfortunately, a lot of women don't realize it's a game until when they get caught in the game.
Okay. And Quinn, you said you've pretty much um, tired and done. Love just ain't in your vocabulary right now. What's the
No,
combination?
and that's all because of the game. I think because men know just in Atlanta alone, it's like 10-1. They don't have to act right because there's too many chicken heads out here that don't require it. Their standards is not as high. So when you up there reading the Steve Harvey book, he is not waiting no 90 days. No, he's not Steve Harvey. If I see him, I really want to give him back his books and say, no, the men are not doing this, or wherever they are or whatever it is, they're not doing that. They're not playing by the 90-day rule, and they're not doing it. I just think that men know that the pool of men is just, is limited in Georgia. Maybe it's not like that in other states, but what I find here is that they don't have to behave, because there is a female out there that will let them have somebody, or she doesn't mind being the side chick. So he doesn't have to be the standards. But then when you have standards, he doesn't want to go that far because he doesn't have to. Why? When chicken head across the street is gonna let me hit it and quit it, or I can stay with her and I don't have to pay any bills, or I can take her to McDonald's, take you, so, or I can, you know, text her once a week and she's gonna be good with it. So I think it's just harder for the ones that try to have a little bit of standards and make these men work for it. They just don't want to because the pool is so high for them.
Right. They're not waiting around anymore to see when they could hit. They're just in it for the beginning part. It's a game. And I could tell you examples of the bullshit that I've gone through. I've met a guy that give me his number, and I guess God is on my side because he dialed me by mistake. And I didn't pick up. He got my voicemail and he put the call into three-way with his wife. He's talking to his wife on the phone and it's recording my voicemail. You know, I had another person that texted me and didn't understand group text, and he had text four women at the same time. Now all the women in group text asking who are you? The other one going, who are you? And he don't even understand that we all could see what he's saying. So he's answering, telling people that's my family, and like who's family? So it's the game they play. It's all about instant gratification. They're not trying to get to know you. They're trying to see how quick they could hit, and they got another one lined up and another one lined up. And sometimes I swear to God, I think men are addicted to that rush in the beginning. They're addicted to the game to see if they could win. And when you get to the point where they've won, or you too difficult for them to win, they move on to somebody else.
But I'm gonna go back to what Will just said. See how y'all are saying it from you guys' standpoint and you guys' point of view because that's what you know. Like Will said, you could find a group of guys that could be preaching that same stuff you guys are preaching on our side of the fence, right, Will?
Yeah, and what I want to say to all of what was just said about Claude is the fact that, let me ask you this is just a wrap up question to that. So, and depending on how much time was spent dealing with that, I know that it's going to affect the answer. Isn't isn't that a plus that now you found out about that, you can just scratch those dudes off and
Yeah,
just move on?
but that's where God helped me out and let me see. What about the ones that God was sleeping on that one? You know, the ones that you really have to figure out. Why should you have to spend so much mental energy trying to decipher bullshit? You know?
But but unfortunately, that's just, I hate to say it, that's par for the course with trying to date or trying to find a relationship. I mean, because you got
Okay.
to,
So
because
so
well, hold on, because part of one of my fears is that guys go out and do the things they do because we've been taught right, wrong, bad, good, and different. We're supposed to hunt. We're supposed to go out on the hunt, go do stuff, go find, go capture, go whatever you're gonna do, go find it. So, and as a guy, you build up a basic, I don't know, you want to say shield or armor to the fact that for every guy you see that you say is a dog and goes this that and other, I said they have already went out and approached 8, 9, 10, 11 other targets that may or may not work and have just moved on. I mean, it's just okay. This ain't gonna work. Move to the next target. Move to the next target. Move to the next target. Move to the next target.
but what
And
happens while he's moving to the next target? You creating women that are building a wall.
no, and I get that, and I guess my takeaway is the fact that you know I can't speak for how women think versus how men think, but if to your point, if a guy has some of those, my guys just want to go, just want to get draws. He approaches a young lady, spits his little ABC game and it don't work. He's done. He goes to the next one. Now, and to your point, as a woman, if you see a simple guy give you ABC game, don't even talk to him. If you already know ABC game is ABC game, it's like, you know what? This dude got all the red
It's not that
flags.
easy, Will. It's not that easy. As I said, you're not a woman. You don't hear the stuff they spit. Not everybody come with ABC games. There's people that do the deep psychological manipulation bullshit. There's some very smart guys out there. And because I've gone through enough, I'm kind of get to the point where I could pick up on certain things. But what about the young girls that haven't gone through a lot of the stuff and believe in this stuff? And as they get older, you learn to realize that, wait a minute, half these people don't mean you no good. So it's not that easy. It's not stupid and stuff for you to go, oh God, that is so lame. No. What about the guy that comes and pretend to be the good guy and comes at you the right way and everything they tell you a good man is supposed to do, that's how he approach you. That's the technique he used. You can't decipher through that. By the time you realize it, he already got you. You already been with him maybe 5, 6, 7 months. He already put your wall down.
Okay, but let me say this, right? For the same reason you just said that, what about all those women who don't do that, who just say, I know he's coming with the bullshit. I know he's spitting the game, but either girl, he fine, he look good, he got a good job, he make money, all the extenuating circumstances that y'all women seem to get caught up in. And when you know deep down inside that this dude is not right for you, but you chose because there were other things that you were attracted to, like the shiny ball. Ooh, he's fine. He got a good car, and which I say to women these days, why is a car still the thing that y'all judge men by these days? I don't understand that.
But I'm not defending for those women. I'm talking about good women that are played the game
No, but if you're
by
gonna
men.
get into the discussion, you gotta say, okay,
Yeah,
for
but but but
there's
when I
you. It's gotta be somebody
yeah
other you that's
yeah,
sexual.
but I'm coming from the good woman that's dealing with bad men. I can't speak for every woman if you're talking about certain things because some women gonna be gold diggers, some women are whores. So I'm not defending and I'm not gonna speak for the woman that is materialistic and not really focused on love. I'm talking about the women that are focused on love. I'm not talking about the girl that in some ways a couple steps below a gold digger that is just dealing with a man because she has another agenda besides, her agenda is not really love. Her agenda is I'm gonna put up with your bullshit, and while I'm doing it, I might pop a baby with you, but I really was in it for your money. I'm not talking about those women. I'm talking about women that actually sit there and said, I'm thinking this man means some good, and I think he's trying to love me. And that's the woman that's kind. That's what I'm defending. I'm not talking about nobody else.
So every
But
man
but
that comes
but
into your life that mean you some good is somebody you think you potentially will to settle down with.
No, no, no. I'm talking about when I see guys and they come at me, I say, look, I tell them what I'm looking for. A lot of them will go into the mode of I'm whatever I think you're looking for. I don't ever deal with no guy that come at me and said I'm just looking for ass at the moment. I appreciate you telling me you're looking for a fuck buddy, but I'm not interested to be a fuck buddy. So I'm talking about the ones that come at you and say I'm looking to settle down. Because that's how I started off. If you're not gonna come at me telling me you're looking to settle down, I don't want to be bothered with you. And that's the ones I'm talking about. They will come and play the role and feed you the bullshit when it don't mean none of it. And
But if
unfortunately, I can't give you 5 and 10 years to figure out you full of shit.
okay, Quinn, anything you want to ask, then we'll go jump in to Clarissa real quick.
No, like I said, I just have just struck out so many times that I'm just gonna give the dating thing a break, and I still feel the same that the representation of the marriage isn't really quite representing it well, you know, and that there's always outside factors that may be contributing. But for me, I just have had enough of the games or giving me an opportunity. I'm 40 years old and I'm like on something else, and I don't feel like I have time. We're trying to get married at 60 again, so I don't want to really play the game. And so I guess I'll just take a break for now. So now I really don't have anything else to add.
Okay, Clarissa,
Mario,
you want?
Mario,
Yeah.
Mario, the reality is marriage and relationship is work. And who the hell want to work if you're in a room where everybody says, I'll come over here and give you instant gratification? Nobody wants to sign up for work, and that's the problem.
Okay, so Clarissa, I'm gonna ask you this question then, even though you're already married, but just give me a hypothetical thesis of how you feel about that. If Carlotta is correct in her assumption by saying that it's work and nobody wants to work, what's the end all be all solution to this? Because you got a bunch of ships passing in the night with nobody really trying to connect.
um, I think, I look at it a little differently because I know we're talking about kind of like having good men and bad men. I've seen a third scenario as well. I've seen good men that kind of exhibit good behavior all the time and they're just good men. Then I've seen bad men that exhibit bad behavior all the time, and I've even seen, I would consider what's a good man that's exhibiting bad behavior at the time because he's not interested in the person he's dating or the person he's kicking it with or whatever. And from the male perspective, and you guys can probably chime in on this after and let me know your opinions. I think some men have ADD while they're dating, like, oh, I'm just on to the next one because they're not really that interested in that chick. And then as time goes on, if he is interested, you find he's still around. And that's probably one way to weed it out is time. If you give enough time, eventually, if he has ADD in 2 months he's out, he's probably not honestly that into you, to be honest. And sometimes it takes time. Like I have friends that have told me, spend 4 seasons with the person at least before you're trying to go marry them or commit and be totally all in, because after 4 seasons, those guys that are not in it for the right reasons, they're not going to be around in most cases. um
They
that's
won't
what
even
I've had.
stick past one season. So you're lucky if you get them to go 4 seasons.
But if you don't get him to go 4 seasons, he's not the one for you. He's not worth your time. Let him go.
But
You
we're
know?
not we're not letting them go. The problem is they're playing a role, and you think you're in a situation, but then you realize you are just in a game. So you
I
can't
mean,
control a game that's not being played by you.
I, that's true, but and and one point you made, Carl, that really made a lot of sense. That no, people don't understand relationships of work, and when it's work, it's not just work. It's work between the two people that's involved. It also work. I put it like this: if somebody gave you a bowl full of rice and said a bowl full of white rice and said, "Okay, I'll pay you $10,000, but you got to go through this bowl full of white rice and find the one piece of black rice in this bowl." A lot of times, that's the equivalent of trying to find a relationship. You're gonna have to just go through and just like we both said. There's plenty of bad women and bad men that each on the opposite side got to just sift through and just yeah, it sucks. I mean, I can't say no. It sucks. It's terrible. And I had a point in my life where I was like Quinn, just no had enough. No, I've been married once before. So after I got divorced, I just said, you know what? I'm chilling. I'm not trying. I was married for 7 years. You know what? I'm not trying to find anything. I'm not trying to find anybody. I'm just going to chill by myself, be happy by myself, recenter. And when I feel like getting back into the dating world, I will go back into the dating world. And I went back with I told you to Chris's point, the 4 season. I got married in 3 months the first time around. That ain't even a whole season. And it just did. Granted, we've both found successful relationships after the fact, but we both made a mistake. We shouldn't have walked down the aisle when we did because we were just young and dumb and just didn't have any idea what life was. And that was just stupidity in its finest form. So I I agree though. Take if you're frustrated, take time for yourself because it's going to help you recenter what you were trying to do. And like I said, take time. I said Carissa and I dated for I think over close to a year over here before I even proposed. And it was it was intentional. It was just let's try to get to know as much of each other as we can before we decide to take another step. Because you're still gonna get to know the person even once you take that certain step. You're gonna learn different stuff. I mean, hopefully, the rest of your lives that you're gonna be learning about each other back and forth. But you know, you have to take time to learn enough, and there's gonna be times when, like I said, you invest 6, 8 months of your lives. Damn, I can't get that time back. You know what? It's just gone. Chalk it up to the game. It's gone. I had it happen to me a couple of times. It's gone. You can't do nothing about it. Short of building a time machine, that time is gone. So, and it's gonna happen. And you're gonna just from odds, you're gonna be unsuccessful more than you're successful. Because generally speaking, once you're successful, you're done. You're finished. You won. So you're gonna be unsuccessful more times than you're successful just because of the nature of what you're trying to do in trying to find a soulmate.
But I think the
Okay.
point that we're trying to make is that yes, we could take time and fix ourselves. We could fix ourselves perfectly. But the problem is who's fixing the people out there? And that's the focus of this conversation. It's not that the women got issues and they need to fix themselves. It's the problem is the group of black men. We need to focus on the fact that they need to change some of the stuff they're doing. Because if we go digging through a bowl of white rice to find one black one, you got to focus on the fact that there's a whole bunch of collateral damage that happens while you spending the time diving for the black rice.
Okay. One black rice. I got you.
Hey,
Okay. So with that being said, so Quinn, and this you before you, Colada. Quinn says she's taking a break. She's done. She's chilling, taking a break from love. And you say that you're constantly running on the hamster wheel. So you still feeling you want to pursue and keep looking for people, even though by your own admission you say you keep running to a whole bunch of nothing.
I've already taken my break. I went backwards and sat back and I looked at what I'm dealing with. And what I do now is I sit back and watch. And I do have my guard up. I wait it out to see if once you know it's a game gonna come, you're prepared for the game, then you could deal with it better. If a man comes along and he's not coming with a game, and I'm sitting there watching, ready to play the game with him, and I realize, wait a minute, he's for real, then that's wonderful. But I'm still going to have my guard up, because you can only go so long and let people keep getting over you before eventually you change who you are. And that's what a lot of bitter black women are. They become changed. So now I'm controlling the game. And if I find that the next person that come in my life is not playing the game, then wonderful. He doesn't realize I was a couple steps ahead of him. I was screening him, and he turned out to be good, and it's all good. But you have to be defensive. You have to sit back and say, look, I got to take the chance that this person is coming with a game. And as long as you're a couple steps ahead of them, then you have stand a better chance of not getting fucked over.
Okay, so we're gonna get ready to wrap this up, but I want to ask Quinn this, and definitely I want to ask all the ladies this. Let's just say we assume that the black man is the problem, hypothetically speaking. What would you say, Quinn, would be a step to take to fix the black man, to get him to the point where you say he's not playing so many games and make him marriage material where you can, feel like you want to spend the rest of your life with him? What would you think?
I don't think it would be anything. I don't think it's a fixture for the men now because they are already grown. So 50 and 40-year-old men, I don't think are fixable. I think that's just would have to be something they would want to do themselves. But for the future generations that's coming up, and baby daddies would need to stay around, or quit donating their sperm, and as women would need to quit receiving sperm that's not really ours, borrowed sperm to have any. I just think the wedlock would need to really, really, really go down. I think, Boys and Girls Club or something, even if they don't have role models in their lives, I just feel that a role model or better representation of marriage in general so they can see or they can know, because a lot of these boys do not know how to. And I mean, they do have good mother. I'm not saying the mothers are not stepping up, but you still need to see the uncle or granddad or somebody else representing how to treat a woman, or if a mentor was to step up and show these men. But I think it's going to require these generation of good men that are married to be in the Boys and Girls Club, or make sure they nephews, or knowing how to respect women, not just black women, but all women. And I just don't think we can really tackle the older generation. I don't have a solution. So I thought I just need to start. So that's why I start with my nephew, and he gets checked real quick. So he opens the door for his little sister. He opens the door for his cousins. He does all that. So I start with him. I'm training these little ones that I have right here in front of me, and to make sure that no, that's not what you say, or that's not what you do, or we don't lay our hands. No, we don't lay our hands on girls or women or whatever, because that's that.
Okay. And Clarissa, I know this is kind of a shaded or loaded question for you, but hypothetically, if the men were the problem, what would you think might be a solution?
I think a solution would be to, from an early age, build accountability for your actions, because I think people look at it this way. Like, let's say this guy is running over 10 women. He's not planning to marry any of those. So he's like, whatever happens, I'm just going to keep it moving. But in doing that, that man doesn't think about the fact that those women will be somebody's wife one day, and now that person and that woman have to deal with all the crap and issues and baggage of what's happened to that woman. And even when he gets with his future wife, he's having to deal with all the baggage from her previous relationship. So it's kind of like a chain reaction. It's building accountability. You're accountable for things you do to people. And even though you may not see the effects of it today, there are effects to every single thing that you do. And I think just kind of teaching people at an early age, when you do XYZ, this is what happens. This is the result. This is what this woman has to go through. This is what the therapy or whatever has to happen for her to be okay. If you teach someone that, then it's not just banging. You're sowing something into somebody's life, maybe just teaching the consequences of their actions early on. They might think twice before playing so many games.
All right, we'll ask you this question, Carlotta, then we'll finish up with Will. Go ahead, Clara.
I think we have to stop, black men have to stop seeing the easiest and quickest power that they can have is the playing a game and being powerful and controlling their sexuality with black women. I think they're wasting a lot of power, or they think it's power. They're wasting a lot of time on playing games. And I think we have lost touch with our own neighborhoods, our own environment. They're not really doing anything anywhere else. They're caught up in, let me use all my money to buy a car. Let me use my money to look good. And everything leads back to pussy, and everything leads back to having power over this woman. They're distracted. They need to put all their energy into bettering themselves in other places, and stop making getting over on a woman priority.
Okay. All right, Will.
I don't know if I have an answer because everyone said something that was decent, and I'm going to parrot a lot of it. Just as a person, be prepared to invest in what you want to get back. I mean, if to Claude's point, if all you doing is trying to find something to bang, that's what you're gonna find. That's what you're gonna do, and you're not. Every seed you sow in that field is going to give you exactly what you want back, which is what you're gonna get back: drama, baby mamas drama, slash tires, whatever you want to call it. That's what you're gonna get from that field. So, to my overall things to answer everything, go sow the seeds you want to get fruit from. If you want a husband or wife, sow the seeds for a husband or wife, and just know that those seeds are gonna take time to grow. You're gonna water that seed for a while. You're gonna look at it. It's gonna look like that one little thing going nowhere for a while because it's a better quality of tree you're gonna get from it. Sure, you can grow the little rinky-dink seeds and just have stuff you want to have, but again, you're not gonna nurture yourself from it. You're not getting food from it. You're getting snacks. You're not getting anything to feed your soul, your spirit. So if you choose to eat junk food all your life, you're gonna end up a product of junk food. So I said, to my advice is to black men, white men, women, black women, white women, whoever you want to look at. That's it. Look for what you want to get, and be steadfast to that.
Okay.
Well, I just
I'm
need to quit trying to find the weeds then, because that's all I'm so finding is weeds. So maybe I'm just planting seeds in the wrong place. Yeah.
No, I mean, no. To your point, there's a hell of a lot of weeds out there on both sides. A hell of a lot of weeds you got to cut through.
Okay.
I mean, so that's why I get kind of passionate when I hear people say one side or the other is bad because the weeds are everywhere, and it's just like, damn. Is there anything? Is there one nice tree I can go find? Nope.
Okay.
Weeds every damn well. So
Okay.
it's hard.
All right. We gonna wrap this up. The original thing was that black marriages aren't failing because of financial issues. They're failing because black women find it impossible to respect black men. But since we all generally conceded that that's kind of a loaded, not right question, so many other factors go into that. We kind of went all over the place and explained some of the other factors and other things that contribute to that. But as far as to answer the question, I'll just keep this short and really quick. I just think growing up, to be totally honest with you, if you didn't have the right people in your life, like me, didn't have a father and stuff like that in the hood, I never had not one single person come up to me and say what you should do when it comes to women is love, respect, settle down, and do the right thing. Not one person ever told me that. All it was taught to me was, oh, you ain't smashing this and you ain't smashing that. Oh, you only got one girl. Oh, you need multiple, women. And people tell you all the ways to do it, how to get them, how to shoot the game, and all this. But nobody tells you how you should love her right, treat her right, hold her hand, open doors, do all the things that'll help promote and enhance a productive relationship. And so since your basis for how you going out into the world and how you looking at women is flawed, that's all you're going to put forward is flawed things because your foundation wasn't right from the get-go. And that's, I think, is the problem. You got to have people teaching young boys, young men right from the jump so that foundation can be right going forward. Because it takes a lifetime to undo nonsense that you've learned, and that's the God honest truth. It takes a long time to get a bunch of dumbness out your head, and once you come to the point that you realize that, wait, I listen to people who don't absolutely know a goddamn thing, and that's a humbling thing for you to come to realize was I base everything that I knew around people who don't know shit. So I think
And,
that's
and
one of
Mario, you keep saying people. We got to call it what it is. You need these black men to start being daddies in their kids' lives. That's the problem. Bring them back, and you don't have to be with the woman. Come back in your kids' lives and raise your kids properly and teach them how to be a man, and maybe a lot of the problems will go away.
I mean, that's true. That's a whole nother podcast in itself, trying to get the fathers back into the homes. And I don't want to even get into that where we just, because there's a lot of great black fathers out there doing what they were supposed to do. But as I always say, it's just not enough of them. All right, well, guys, we want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Random Select Podcast. It's the podcast that's all about thought-provoking talk, and I definitely want to thank the panelists that took time out of their day to join the show. I want to thank Carlotta, I want to thank Quinn, I want to thank Clarissa, and I want to thank the Frost Giant, my big homie Will. Definitely appreciate you guys, and you can find the Random Select Podcast anywhere that they're streaming podcasts, guys. We are all over the place. And with that being said, the Random Select Podcast is out.
Are you listening? Damn.